Ever since Endgame, Marvel Studios took on a lot of responsibilities. On top of putting out 2 to 3 films a year, they also took on the entire responsibility of Marvel Entertainment's TV division, which was to produce 2 to 3 TV shows a year, which clearly hurt them. In this, we're going to talk about how exactly hurt them, and can they recover from it. So before we get into it, we of course got to cover the basics, because the basics are important in understanding whether or not Marvel Studios was really hurt by MCU's TV. And to cover the basics, I mean, we need to go to the olden ways of Marvel Entertainment's Marvel TV division. After Marvel Studios was bought by Disney, Marvel Studios was of course the film division, but they didn't just buy Marvel Studios, they bought all of Marvel. Marvel Comics was under the Marvel Entertainment brand, which was a separate entity to Marvel Studios. They operated more or less autonomously, and they had oversight by Disney, but again, they were largely independent. This caused tons of problems. Marvel Studios wanted to do films, Marvel Entertainment wanted to do TV, with very little communication between both. Marvel TV produced a lot of content from 2012 to 2020. Starting with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., we of course had Agent Carter. We got the entire Netflix catalog of characters, which was going to expand even further and did with The Punisher. We of course got Hulu that gave us Runaways. We had Cloak and Dagger. There was Hellstrom. There was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., spin-off TV series that didn't move further. There was a lot in development. They produced a ton of content per year. Now, Disney saw an opportunity to out Ike Perlmutter, the guy in charge of Marvel Entertainment, who wasn't following orders and was cutting costs, as we know, and making productions on the cheap. And they gave the entire catalog of everything and put everything under Kevin Feige, aka Marvel Studios. Now, Marvel Studios, up until this point, was disconnected from the TV side of things. They didn't have to spend time, money, or effort on it. This, of course, changed in 2018 to 2020. And then, lo and behold, we get to that infamous D23 after everything was folded in, and we get the first reveal of their ambitious plans. Now, there is a chance that you forgot how much they revealed. So first, I want to show you one specific image of how much was revealed that one year. Look at this. Look at the amount of content that's here. It is absolutely insane how much content they revealed would be coming out in just 3 years. And if you're keeping count, that's 12 TV series in 3 years. A Herculean undertaking would be an understatement. And then, within the next year, we would find out what all this content was. Of course, we found out that WandaVision was happening, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, Marvel's What If, Hawkeye, Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, Secret Invasion, Echo, Agatha All Along, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, Daredevil Born Again, and Ironheart. On top of this, there was also announcements of Eyes of Wakanda, Marvel Zombies, Wonder Man, a Vision TV series, X-Men 97, and more that were in development, that we know that since those days have been canceled and or backburnered or shifted what they were. There's at least another 8 series that were confirmed by the trades to have been in development before they fell off. And of course, we know now why they fell off, which of course we're going to talk about. But what I'm trying to show you guys here is that Marvel Studios had to take on the responsibility of, after Endgame, putting out 2 to 3 films a year while putting out 2 to 4 TV series a year, and this was put on them as a indefinite going forward. AKA, this is what you're going to do going forward, don't question it. And this, of course, at the time was by former Disney CEO Bob Chapek. And as you guys remember, if you've been members of the channel and or listening to the podcast for a while, the moment he was announced, we said this is where you hit the panic button, because he was infamous for doing one thing, and the one thing he did was cut costs everywhere, but amp up productions and try to shoestring budget everything. That's exactly what he was doing. So productions got cut down, he pulled resources, but he demanded that everything come out on time. Hell or high water, things were going to be coming out. It also didn't help that in the middle of this, there was disputes with what happens with Spider-Man when everything was getting greenlit. And on top of this, the push for Disney Plus was the main focus. That was the main goal. That was the only goal. And then we look at what happened with Marvel Television, and everybody says Marvel Studios was hurt by Marvel TV. Now, I want to address this in a very simple way and say, yes, it was hurt, but not the way you think. So I can already hear frantic comments and the keyboards clacking away, and people are just blaming She-Hulk. It's going to happen. They're blaming She-Hulk. They're blaming woke Miss Marvel. They're blaming this or that. But the truth of the matter is, Disney overestimated their reach. And what I mean by that is, Disney saw what Netflix did. Netflix having 3 to 4 times more subscribers because they were so far ahead, they figured we could operate the same business model. Throw infinite money at the problem and get infinite money back and results. What Disney didn't really think about was the fact that that's the only Netflix model. So when something fails, they're going to get a write-off. When they don't meet their numbers, it's their only business model, they get a write-off. Disney operates on a completely different business model. They want you to watch the product, but all their money comes from theme parks and merchandise. The movies and the TV shows are just fluff to get you into their ecosystem. And what happened was they overestimated. They overspent on these shows, they rushed the shows, and the end result was everybody was spread thin, and super thin in the case of Marvel Studios, where film quality started to suffer because Marvel TV was pushing this demand out that they had to meet, which was never going to work. So what went wrong was too much demand, and not the fault of the quality of any show. Whatever you might think about She-Hulk, I get it. It's the most hated thing out there when it comes to MCU content and whatever. That show posted decent numbers, and She-Hulk sales on comics and action figures soared. That show posted a profit in the end. Other shows did not. But the real problem here was Marvel Studios was experts at films. And when they took on TV, it started to show that they can't do it, because every TV was just a movie split into multiple episodes, sometimes stretched so far that it didn't work. And ultimately, Marvel just sort of found themselves back up against the wall, trying to fight a battle that they didn't understand, which was something that they were never going to understand, as they were a studio focused on films. Thank you for checking out that video, and thank you for your continued support. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, do whatever you will, and if you're so inclined and would like some additional content from us, which includes unfiltered content and bonus discussions, we do offer it exclusively in our members section. We hope to see you there. So thank you for watching, and have a good one.